This is Gina. So let me just tell you how much I really enjoyed your post. That was, to me, very chock full of information and a lot of trying to get to the essence of what Luke chapter 1 is trying to tell us, and trying to go from being go from the whole to being to look at the parts, to try to get the sum of it, to get to arrive at the essence of what the author is trying to tell us. So I really enjoyed the fact that at the very beginning you talk about the wholeness of Luke and how it prepares us for life of Christ, and that this is that you use this as a blueprint for your life. And then you break it down into the elements. And the elements in Luke 1, I mean, a lot of times he mentions things that were never mentioned before. So they're mentioned for the first time, like family and love and poverty and wealth and women and sin and forgiveness and fate and free will. And so you look at how Jesus reacts to all of those things and try to get at who he is as a person. And you break it down into your three elements that you break it down into. The first one is that you say is the gospel is for everyone. So it was for Jews and Gentiles alike, and it kind of breaks down social classes. And you say that it's also insignificant on who follows Christ. And I think those words are very up to date for nowadays. I mean, if we really lived by those words, we wouldn't need a Department of Defense. That'd be something good. No war. So, and then your second one was the power of prayer. And you mentioned that that God does answer our prayer, and he can tell what's in our hearts and what's in our souls, like the Elizabeth times. And for me, the most important and the most interesting one, because I always struggle with this, and that is when somebody comes to a Christian and say, well, why does God let bad things happen anyway? You talk about he bestows blessings. He gave great joy, but he also gave out trials and even heartaches. And so where does that leave us? What does that tell us? How does this help us grow? Actually, God never really promised a rose garden. He never really promised that life would be easy, that we would have peace and prosperity and be pain-free throughout our life. As a matter of fact, John promises trouble and hardship. But the difference is the hope that we have for Christ. And Mary even said in Luke 1, I think verse 38, may it be done to me according to your word. And that death is not the end, but it's a transformation to a fuller life in Christ. And, but still when people come to Christians and say, how can that be that a loving God would let a child have cancer, or somebody die in a car accident, or Kobe Bryant? What's that all about? And if suffering is a result of sin, are these people worse sinners than the rest of us? But one of the answers, I mean, it's really hard to find words to express. Okay, so these words that will solve that problem for everybody asking it. But Jesus provided the solution when he died and he rose again, and because of Christ we have hope for eternity. And so with those comforting words, those are the comforting words that Jesus is walking next to me. And with those comforting words, I'd like to close and thank you for a very, very interesting, thoughtful post. Good night.